I made charts on characters, themes, and plots, but the plot chart is the one I was least satisfied with. Despite including the most amount of details, I didn't feel like it gave as clear of a path to writing a good plot as the other two charts did. Out of the blue, a spark went off in my head, and I connected previous videos together to create a discovery. By connecting my Iron Man video, a part of my Teen Titans video, and my enjoyment of certain battle manga arcs, I realized a nearly invincible strategy for writing a plot, and that is character times theme equals plot. I'm calling this the plot formula. If the plot is used as a medium to execute the characters and theme, then it's nearly impossible to go wrong. I already knew this formula, but I didn't realize how many other stories used it and how effective it was. This also unlocked greater understanding in my story theory. Let's start with One Piece. I love the baratie arc, but now I'm understanding that part of the reason is because of this plot formula. Here's a possible way Oda could have constructed this arc. What's the theme of this arc? The anti-theme is military might beats grit, and the theme is grit beats military might. The pro theme will go to the hero, and the anti-theme will go to the antagonist. What else? Well, I want to introduce a new main character and eventual Straw Hat, Sanji. He's a cook, and one of his main traits is his inability to let anyone starve, no matter what. He will also have a character arc where he learns that he shouldn't keep himself from chasing his dreams because of his debt to his teacher. He feels this debt because of a tragic backstory where his teacher risked his life to save him. We got the characters and the theme. Now we just use those elements in the plot. The Straw Hats meet Sanji in his restaurant. We can show how strongly Sanji sticks to his code by having him feed a person that threatened to kill him, Gin. And then we can have him do it again when Sanji decides to cook for the main antagonists who were connected to Gin, Don Krieg and the Krieg pirates. We can also have Luffy try to get Sanji to join the crew, but he denies it because he's indebted to Zev due to his backstory. Luffy and Krieg will eventually fight, and Krieg's fighting style will be based on his side of the theme. Luffy will defeat his weapons with his grit, manifesting the theme. Then at the end, we can have a powerful scene where Zev tries to force Sanji to leave so that he can chase his dreams, executing the latter's character arc, allowing him to join the Straw Hats as I planned. The plot is a simple execution of the characters and themes. There are extra bells and whistles, like Zoro vs Mihawk, which aren't needed, but they do improve the story. The important thing is that the story never drags. Everything should be moving to execute the ideas from the characters and themes. Next, Naruto's Land of Waves. The anti-theme is ninja are tools, and the theme is ninja are humans. Zabuza and Haku represent the anti-theme. Zabuza got his belief from his tragic backstory. They will eventually switch sides in a character arc. Naruto will represent the theme. Now the plot. How can we show that Zabuza and Haku see themselves as tools? We can have them work for Gato as soldiers, but we can show hints of them not truly believing it, like Haku protecting Zabuza from Gato, Haku pulling a Piccolo for Zabuza, and Zabuza getting mad at Gato kicking Haku's corpse. Then Naruto can give his speech representing the theme, which sparks Zabuza's character arc, perfectly represented by him killing his employer for disrespecting his human ally. We could also add Sakura getting emotional over the supposed death of her ally, even though ninja aren't supposed to show emotions. That's perfection right there. The Haku plot twist, bridge builder subplot, training, and more are all just bells and whistles to flesh out the plot. They aren't necessary, but they are welcome. Next, Jujutsu Kaisen. In the Versus Mahito arc, we start with Junpei, a character who will bounce between good and bad. This is justified by his rough background. He's bullied and eventually his mom dies. This will push him to the dark side, and he'll be brought back by Yuji. The theme can stem from him. He believes that humans don't have hearts as a way to cope with the tragedies he faced. That's the anti-theme, and Yuji will oppose him as the theme. Humans have hearts. We can make this more interesting by including a puppeteer. Mahito will be the one that influences Junpei by befriending him and indirectly killing his mom, pushing him over the edge. Then we can make this even more tragic by having Mahito kill Junpei after his character arc, leading to Yuji vs Mahito. The plot just has to find a way to make these characters meet and fight. Nanami was unnecessary, but welcome. Simple. I went over this in my Iron Man video, but the first movie is just like this. Tony's arc is going from believing selling weapons is right to believing selling weapons is wrong, instead opting to become a weapon for justice, Iron Man. The theme of this movie is selling weapons is wrong, or broadly, take accountability for your actions. Stark takes accountability for all weapons he made by seizing the distribution of them, creating a new weapon that he can use for precise justice, and destroying his old weapons and saving innocent people. The plot just finds creative ways to make this happen. Tony getting captured is a way to force him to confront his creations and have his arc. Him saving the people from terrorists shows the fruits of his arc. The same plot twist isn't necessary, but it's welcome. Simple. Sticking with superheroes, Spider-Man 2 is like this as well. Peter's character arc has him bouncing between two sides, being a hero but having a bad life, and not being a hero but having a good life. He starts with his life falling apart, so he quits being a hero, and his life is good, but then he realizes that being a hero is more important. This is the theme. Sometimes doing the right thing costs us what we love. Then we have a villain, Doc Ock, who reflects Spider-Man's journey. He focuses on what he loves instead of doing the right thing, and it makes him a villain. But before that, Otto actually teaches Peter the theme. In the end, Peter can repeat the theme back to him as a powerful moment. The plot is just executing these character arcs and the theme. The existence of Doc Ock and Peter losing his powers due to not wanting to be Spidey are extra content, but flesh out the plot. Simple. One more superhero. One of my favorite episodes from Teen Titans is Car Trouble. The base is that Cyborg is obsessed with his new car, and Raven thinks his obsession is unwarranted. Cyborg has a character arc of caring, to not caring, and then back to caring, but not over everything, which is influenced by Raven's character arc to caring about the car. Cyborg's arc can be shown by him making difficult decisions. Before his arc, he chose his car over justice. Then after his arc, he will choose justice over his car. How can a superhero plot about a car be interesting? Villains could steal the car, which would force Cyborg and Raven to work together. In fact, we can have a villain possess the car and force Cyborg to show what he values more, justice or his car. Then the theme can be the bright side of the T-car's remnants. It's what's inside that counts. Raven can relate to Cyborg putting pieces of himself into the car through how she's connected to her own magic. The use of Gizmo and Electro as tech-based villains was a genius choice. The plot stems from the characters and the themes. Simple. If you saw my videos on Food Wars and Twin Star Exorcist, they do the same thing. Early Food Wars had the conflicts stem from characters opposing beliefs and personal conflicts, which led to a plot. Let's look at Soma versus Ikumi. Erina and her proxy Ikumi believe in elitism, which leads to them stepping over inferiors for their goals. But Soma is anti-elitism. This is physically manifested in the plot by Ikumi trying to destroy Don RS because Erina believes Donburi is only B-rate gourmet, peasant food, while Soma defends them, believing the quality of food isn't from expensive ingredients. This also manifests in the fight through Soma using cheap meat, while Ikumi uses expensive meat. The two agree to a shokugeki, and the rest of the arc is Soma training for the battle and winning the fight. Simple and brilliant. Twin Star also uses this formula for most of his arcs before the time skip. I don't think this is the only way to write a plot, but it's extremely effective and hard to mess up. Obviously, the quality of the plot depends on the quality of the theme and characters, so once you have those right, you're 90% of the way there. But what happens when a story neglects this formula? I've noticed that part of the reason certain types of plots bother me is because they don't follow this formula. First, I'm going to attack tournament arcs for the third time. If you look at basically every tournament, it's just characters being forced to fight each other. The plot isn't a natural manifestation of the characters and the themes. It's like gathering a bunch of action figures and making them fight because I said so. The Krieg pirates attacked because of Sanji's code of feeding the hungry, and Krieg's ego due to his military might. Character and theme. Naruto and Zabuza fight because Zabuza was hired to kill Tazuna, which was a direct result of his ninja are tools philosophy. Character and theme. Yuji and Junpei fight because of Junpei's negative character arc, which was orchestrated by Mahito. Character and theme. Why did Naruto and Neji fight? Because the tournament said so. Why did Deku and Todoroki fight? Because the tournament said so. It's just lazier and less interesting. It's the same complaint I had about tournaments in Food Wars. I'd probably have the same complaint for the tournament in Twin Star. This doesn't mean that tournament fights don't ever have themes. The Neji and Todoroki fights did, but that's just not the norm. And then their physical conflict is based on coincidence from the bracket. This complaint also extends to super arcs in battle manga, but it's not as bad. Examples of super arcs are Enies Lobby, Soul Society, Sasuke Recovery, Overhaul, Elf Reincarnation, and Shibuya Incident. I'll single out Shibuya because it's recent and arguably has this problem the worst. The characters basically fight because they have to fight. There are some fights that are actually tied to characters and themes, but most of them are just, hey, there's a bunch of heroes and villains in the same place, so they're gonna run into each other and fight. It's not like there are unique character and theme reasons each character is in action or fighting a specific opponent. I love the Awasaka fight, but Yuji and Megumi just fight him because they have to. Yuji and Mahito have a personal beef, but they meet each other through coincidence and fight because of personal beef from a previous arc. You can't map out the story by using the plot formula. Most super arcs are like this, but at least in some of the others, the main attraction follows the formula. Ichigo vs Byakuya, Naruto vs Sasuke, and Luffy vs Lucci as individual fights all follow the formula to a degree. In fact, the summary of the arcs follow that formula. It's just that a lot of the fights leading up to the finale don't. Soul Society is based on the characters of Ichigo, Rukia, and Byakuya, and there is a theme. Sasuke Recovery is based on the characters of Naruto and Sasuke, and there's a theme. Enies Lobby is based on the characters of Luffy, Robin, and Lucci, and there's a theme. What is the foundation of the Shibuya arc? Kenjaku wants to seal Gojo in the prison realm. No character, no theme. In conclusion, I believe that the plot formula is a surefire way to create a good plot without having to worry about whether the plot is good or not. As long as every scene executes one of the core ideas from the characters and themes, everything should be fine.